What's up? After close to $100,000 in personal ad spend on Facebook ads, probably another 50 across all my students now, I can say one or two things about the topic. And I want to make one thing clear. I have nothing to sell to you in this video. My goal is that you make more money after watching this video and then associate the money that you've made with me just a little bit, right? You've been told so far to use interest here, lookalikes there, ABO, CBO, Advantage Plus, horizontal scaling, vertical scaling, and so on, right? I've heard of all these terms and all these crazy things, that like basically people think, the testing strategy, the craziest scaling strategy. You've heard a million things, and I'm pretty sure that you have no clue what is actually true. Unless you actually made money in the past and consistently are still making money, I'm pretty sure that you're overwhelmed. And so kind of I want to help you with that, which basically the first thing which I'm going to tell you is probably going to break all of your beliefs, which is that the success of your Facebook ads has nothing to do with your ad account. Okay, I want you to really get that. And this is something which, when I've heard this for the first time, I was like, what? Like, what is the best testing strategy? What is the scaling? How do I set up this? How do I set up that? It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you put 10 ads into an ad set, if you put one ad into an ad set. It doesn't matter if you test with CBO, with ABO, even with Advantage Plus. It doesn't matter. As long as your optimization event is the purchase which you want, you're going to make money under one condition. And that one condition is you need perfect 10 out of 10 creatives. That's it. Because a perfect creative is not only able to carry a huge amount of spend over a long period of time, but also a perfect creative is able to speak to a very unaware audience, which is going to then even make more money with it, right? Because you can scale it to higher numbers. And so in this video, I kind of want to give you guys the information that I've learned that worked for me, about like how I make or how I'm trying to make perfect 10 out of 10 credits, because there are no perfect 10 out of 10, right? But you can get close to the perfect stage. And so besides that, I also want to tell you how to refresh those so that you can keep running ads. And and that's basically it. That's going to be the topic of this video. And so the first thing I want to tell you is that this is something which I've noticed when I scaled my first product on Facebook. However, I've also heard that other really, really successful people do this. Basically, they spend 80% of their time when they're making ads refreshing and kind of fueling the same winning concept and the same winning ad that has already been proven by them, and just 20% making new stuff. And I would have always thought, okay, creative test is probably something where I just test 10 new concepts and like always want new ad concepts. It's not. The most successful people I know spend 80% of their time refreshing winning ads, right? Some concept that has been proven, some clip, some creator that they worked with, whatever it is. They've identified a winning variable, and then they just kept refreshing it, making so many variations. And they spent 80% of time, people, and resources and money testing new stuff within that concept. And just 20% of their resources on new stuff, which is crazy. And when I've heard that for the first time, it blew my mind. But I saw this on myself. I want you to understand one thing. Before I actually start breaking down what makes a perfect creative, do not expect a higher hit rate than like 20-30% when it comes to ads. The craziest marketers have like a 20% hit rate. It's impossible that you have like a 50, 60, 100% hit rate. Every single ad works. Impossible. If you ever had that happen before, you've had like a crazy mega winner that was basically just like anything you uploaded kind of worked. You don't know why. You don't know why awareness stage you spoke to. You don't know why it worked. Probably ripped half of those ads, but it worked. So just to make that clear, if you run ads for a longer period of time, and I'm saying like longer than 3 months, same product, same store, it's not going to happen that you have a higher hit rate consistently than like 20, the max 30%. 30% hit rate on your creatives is crazy. It's probably going to be closer to like 5 to 10, which means you're going to have to test 10 creatives to have something that gets them spent. Or if you have 5%, then 20. And even lower, like if you have a 1% hit rate, which isn't unrealistic as a beginner, you have to test 100 creatives every single test until you find a winning ad. And so the thing is about like creatives, it's a volume game. It's a numbers game. Because you like come to a point where you test so much that you figure out your hit rate, and then every creative test after that, you just test according to that hit rate. And of course, the more you do it, the better the hit rate gets because your leverage increases, your skills get better. But like ultimately, you just have to figure out your hit rate and test accordingly. Test as many creatives as it took you last time to find a winner. And this makes so much sense, but no one does this because everyone follows rules that don't exist. You're following rules, you're playing by rules that do not exist. Made up rules. 10 creatives per week. Who says that? Like, why is there a rule? Why can't you test 1,000? Right? So I want to break your beliefs in this video. And so let's actually get into what makes a perfect 10 out of 10 ad creative. And with like the first thing I want to talk about is like the first misconception or what a lot of people don't understand is that a perfect direct response ad creative the job of that isn't to sell. It's to make people curious enough to click on your website. It's about creating as much curiosity as possible so that the person clicks. Because every e-com store can be broken down, if you break it down to the easiest, smallest, simplest level, it can be broken down to 2 steps: getting traffic and converting that traffic. And that is it. That is it. So ultimately, your ads are giving you traffic, which means your ads have the goal to give you traffic that is as cheap as possible, not to sell. The selling part happens here on the website, on their offer, which is a completely different topic and not something which I'm going to talk about today. So your goal should never be to be hardcore salesy and to, present yourself as the craziest brand ever by not even having some brand credibility, some brand awareness, by, being a dropshipper that maybe doesn't even fulfill their orders. Your ad, if you just make it completely salesy, is not going to perform at all. So your goal is to make people extremely curious. And there's tons of ways of actually doing this. The point is just you have to actually leave some information out on purpose, right? You have to tease them, right? This is a launch strategy of Alex Hormozi, which is whisper, tease, and shout, right? Or scream. And you kind of have to play by this when it comes to your creatives. First of all, you whisper. You give them some kind of, you give them a little bit, make them more curious. Then you give them a little bit more. Then they're more curious, and then you scream, and then you say, call to action, buy now. So this is the goal of your ad. It's never to convert someone. No one that watches an ad for you, not even most aware people, are going to say, okay, I'm going to buy now. Never. The selling part actually is supposed to happen once they have the add to cart button in front of their face. That is when people make purchase decisions, but not on your ad. And so the best ad is the one which gives you the cheapest real traffic. Be aware of bot traffic is a thing. You can get it. So especially on TikTok, I've seen it tons of times. But point is the cheapest traffic, highest click-through rate combined with the lowest CPM is the best ad. And that's the one you should scale. All right. Number 2 is simplicity. And you've probably heard me talking about the value equation from Alex Hormozi. Credits go to Alex Hormozi. It's not my concept. Maybe you've heard it from him, from one of his books. So basically, you want to decrease time delay and decrease effort and sacrifice when it comes to making creatives. You want to eliminate both of these. And so present your product as simple to use and as quickly to actually see results with as possible. And this is exceptionally important and very true for problem solvers, but also for clothing, because you have to present it to be such a positive experience. You have to show them that when they take this offer, they're going to reach their dream outcome very quickly and with as low effort and sacrifice as possible. And this is not only how you can charge more, what I would say in the offers part, but this is actually what makes people more curious at the end and make them want to click on your ad. This is why you have to push simplicity on your creative so much, because simplicity works, right? If you overcomplicate something, it's not going to scale. If you make something which is completely new, if you try to reinvent the wheel, especially as a dropshipping beginner, chances are you're not going to make it work. So the thing is, simplicity scales. Like, this kind of stuff actually scales. If you just try to find something which has already been proven, just add a twist to it, be creative, right? The word creative has the word creativity in it, right? You have to be creative. You have to, obviously, you can't just rip ads and expect anything to work. Like, of course, you have to add your own twist to it, add your own tweak to it. And so simplicity has the goal, like I said before, to eliminate time delay and effort to sacrifice. If you manage to showcase that in your ads, then you will get the highest click-through rates. Try that in your next ad you make. I promise you, it will change the game for you, all right? Third thing, how do you start an ad? And I approach starting an ad just like everything else in basically content game or any other interaction should be started, which is proof, promise, plan. So whenever you enter a YouTube video of a very successful YouTuber, or a sales call of a very successful sales rep, right? Or an ad creative of a very successful brand, you'll realize 3 steps that they do in the very beginning. It doesn't matter if you're conscious about it, if they actually tell you, or if they show you. And in whatever way they do this, it's 3 steps always. And from now on, try to see it. Proof, promise, plan. Proof that the product and the dream outcome can be achieved and has been achieved by other people. Promise that it's going to work for them too, right? Or at least what they're going to be able to know if they watch this ad. Logical or emotionally, might tell you that, might not, but they do this always. And plan. If you put this in every single piece of content that you make from now on, it's going to change the game for you, especially with ad creatives. Proof, promise, plan is a structure, and you don't have to tell them, by the way. You don't have to be completely salesy, and like how I started this YouTube video by saying how much I made, and then what you're gonna know after this video and how I'm gonna break it down. I did this too, by the way. Proof, promise, plan, and do this in your ad creatives too. Do this in a sales call if you're a sales rep watching this video, right? It's gonna give you so much credibility, and people are gonna be, what are they gonna be? More curious. They're gonna want to click on your ad even more. Start it with proof, promise, plan, and your results will change. Again, try it. What do you have to lose, right? Especially if you're not actively making a lot of money with e-com right now. This is something which you could just try. Like, why not try it, right? Just implement this, and trust me, you will watch your results go up. Put much more thoughts into your creatives. That's also something which I want to mention in this video. Because a lot of times I notice people just, scripting 3 ads, then hopping onto CapCut and then just cutting together 5 things, and that's it. That's all they do. But they don't even know why they selected the hook that they selected. Every millisecond of your creative matters. And you get good at it by doing a shit ton of volume. By doing so much, you just get better at it. So you have to increase your volume, and you have to start breaking down your ads frame by frame, right? You have to click on your little arrow button on your laptop every single frame. What did I do here? What happened here? What happened to the music here? What happened to the voice? What kind of voice was it, right? Where exactly was the text? Where exactly the text disappeared? How long was the call to action? How many frames was the call to action? Like, exactly how long? What hook did I use? What awareness stage did I speak to? All these things are variables. And once you find something that works, you figure out these variables. And obviously, the more ads you've tested, the more you're going to find variables that do work, variables that don't work. And obviously, I could give you my file, my document, where I have personally all my winning variables that I've figured out for myself. But this is a skill. And everyone's going to have their different winning variables. Everyone does creatives a little bit differently. This is why AI cannot make creatives for us, because you need a brain for it. Everyone does it differently. Every marketer does marketing a little bit differently, and that's what makes them so good. They get good in one very particular direction, and then they double down on that. And so that's why if you try to copy someone one by one, you're never going to reach that level, because he's the best version of himself. You can't get like him. You have to be the best version of yourself. Maybe it's in a completely different direction, but you can actually find your best way. You just have to be unique and creative and different from everyone else. And so start your ads by proof, promise, plan, and your results will change. Fourth thing, obviously, call out your customers. But I can't stress this enough. In today's times where interests don't work anymore, stop bullshitting, better, 99 out of 100 ad accounts run completely on broad targeting, right? And every time that you see someone scaling with interests, I guarantee if that person would have uploaded the same creative on an ad set which didn't have any interest in any targeting, it would perform the exact same, maybe even better, right? So interests, especially when you test stuff, completely unnecessary. Completely unnecessary, especially if you sell some insecurity stuff, if you sell some very broad product, you don't need any interest anymore. So in times like this, where all the magic, all the targeting, everything happens on the creative level, if you don't call out your customers, then your creative is not going to optimize in the right audience. And so we're kind of moving into the direction where what organic people do. Because organic dropshippers, what they're doing is they're obviously not only trying to go viral, but they're trying to go viral in a very specific niche, right? In the right niche. They're trying to go viral because of the product, which means that if they do go viral in the right audience, they will also convert. They will make a bunch of money. And so they do that by calling out people, by showcasing the product in a specific situation with a specific background, specific pacing, specific voices, all these things. There's a million things. Organic is a completely different thing. However, in times like this where we don't use any interest on Facebook anymore, obviously you have never used interest and hashtags on TikTok right? Everything happens on the creative level. You have to call them out directly. You have to make them feel like you're specifically talking to them. I'll give you an example. In sales calls, what you do essentially is you sit in front of a person, let's call him John, and you sit in front of John and you can say his name, right? You can say, John, blah, 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 right? And he's going to listen to you because everyone reacts positively to their own name, obviously. However, in marketing, which is the one-to-many version of sales, you can't do this. You can't call out their names, obviously, because it's the same ad and 100 people see it, 1 million people see it, ideally, right? So if you have that situation of not being able to call someone out by their name, how do you call them out? By understanding their desires. If you understand their exact problems, their desires, and why they resonate, why they should resonate with your offer, ideally have even sent out post-purchase surveys in the past, call your customers. Again, you're playing by rules that don't exist. If you understand them better than they understand themselves, then you can call them out and make them feel like they're you're saying their name without sharing their name. If you start listing out their entire life in front of them, they're going to sit in front of the screen like this. And yes, they're going to stop scrolling. It's not about, having some bullshit controversy in the video and going viral in the completely wrong niche like some of the organic people do, but especially on Facebook where you're going to get banned if you implement some stupid controversy. You can't do this. You can't lower your CPMs by just making it engaging for the completely wrong reason, because then it's going to optimize in that audience. It's the same thing as organic videos. It's the same exact thing. And so you have to understand that calling them out and making them feel like this ad is specifically tailor-made for them is the best way to get good hook rates and to ultimately get high click-through rates and high conversion rates on your ads. That's how you do it. That's how it's done. By actually making them feel, and I'm going to repeat that. I know I'm very repetitive in this video, but I'm repeating stuff that I actually want to stick. So you basically make them feel like this ad is specifically made for them by listing out their entire life, basically their problems, their desires, like who they are, describe them as a person, right? If you do that in the hook or in some part of the video, they're going to be hooked. They're going to stop scrolling. The scroll stopper is going to work much better than just some stupid, random thing in the background. All right. Number 5 is the visual hook. And this is probably the most important thing when it comes to the hook itself, because a lot of servers and Discord try to sell you winning hooks, right? They just essentially send in winning ads of themselves, probably with some clothing products or reps. And then essentially they're, because their audience obviously also doesn't know what creatives really are, what that really means. What they're trying to do is, it sells well, obviously, because people think it's about the text hook. It's about the text that it says. And then when they apply the same exact text with the same exact size, same exact font, same exact everything on their own product, on their own ad, it doesn't work. Why is that? Because it's actually not about the text hook. It's about the visual hook. It's about what they see in the clips. And so I've sold a hair product before, and one of my craziest winning ads was where basically there was this girl was in front of the camera, super close up, right? And her hair was completely crazy. It was the before, right? So I showcased the before versus the after. And I showed the before, which was terrible, in the visual hook. And people who were doom scrolling, and you want to call them out, you want to stop them from doom scrolling, were seeing this girl, and then we're like, oh my God, what is this, right? And so visual hooks are super important. And so I'm going to give you a couple pieces of advice that you can implement on this so that you can actually make better creatives, right? First thing is motion. Every time that you have motion or some type of movement, whether it's the product itself, whether it's in the background, I'm not going to move my camera now, but wherever there's some motion, some movement, people want to know generally where that movement is going to. Where is that motion leading them, right? They just want to know, or zoom in, zoom out, or even the creator just following, being followed by the camera. I've turned that setting off. I'm not really showing you this kind of stuff on my camera, but you get what I'm saying, right? Motion and movement is a great way to increase your engagement rates on your ads, get more people watching the whole thing, and then also get more people to your website, which gives you cheaper traffic and cheaper CPMs, which is then going to give you even more cheaper traffic, right? So what else is the visual hook? Does a good visual hook make, right? Before and after stuff. So motion, also reactions works super well, right? So whenever you showcase some reaction or some emotional, some person who people can relate with, who people can resonate to, who's just showing crazy emotional reaction, whether it's crying or laughing or whatever it is, being shocked, scared, all these things trigger things in people, because sales and selling in general, what you're doing essentially, you're selling a physical product to real people, happens emotionally. Every purchase decision is made on an emotional level, which means you cannot think of actually, starting to, explain things and I'm logical seller. It never works out. Always when you show some reactions, when you have some movements, people are easy. You can always imagine the stuff on Facebook, which I've seen works best, is the stuff you would say, this never still works. Come on, this works. A lot of times, yes, that is exactly what works. A lot of times, the type of creatives that you make in CapCut, that you export is shit. Oh my god, this is so ass. I'm not gonna test this. Oftentimes, those exact creatives are the ones which work the best for some reason, and then the ones which you've spent 5 hours on making just completely, flops in performance. Happens. Completely happens. And again, your hit rates are going to be low, even if you're very good. Hit rates essentially always are very low. So you gotta test accordingly. Put up your volume. Do more. Simply do more. Okay. Next thing is objection handling. And so now we're getting into a stage where this is more important for problem solvers, for actual insecurity solving emotional products. For example, this is going to be more difficult with fashion because people don't really care. Fashion kind of sells itself. This is a marketing principle, so it's not something which is going to essentially apply to you if you're just selling some clothing products, because it kind of sells itself. However, if you do have a product which is very problem solving and needs some explanation, then objection handling is a crucial part in actually doing that. And so what objection handling is basically like figuring out what the people's main concerns are, what holds them back from buying right now, and just handling those. And obviously, a lot of times people will. So a lot of mistakes I see with this is that people handle the wrong objections, right? And again, it comes down to understanding your audience perfectly. Because if you know their exact objections, like let's say you sell a super complex product, come to your store, they're really curious, but there's a couple things which they're unsure about. And they're like, I really need to know this, right? I really want to know this, else I can't buy. Like they're scared that something's going to happen to them if they do buy this now, right? If you did understand your customers perfectly, then you would just put those as an FAQs, or just like mention those in the very top sections, maybe even in some of your product pictures or in your reviews. If you're a very intelligent person, then what would happen is obviously those people would then buy. And you can also do this in your ads, right? Especially in retargeting ads where people have already seen some of your stuff before. So the more bottom of funnel you get, the more title it gets, the more aware people are of you, the more you need to objection handle, and the more it actually becomes logical selling instead of just really direct response emotional stuff, right? So this is really important to understand. Objection handling is a crucial part, and you need to actually start doing it. But however, stop handling the wrong objections, right? So I mean, fashion would be, for example, like if you sell shapewear or if you sell some leggings and people are really unsure about what size they should pick because they've bought 10 pieces of shapewear in the past and it was all shit in size. So one thing you might say in your ad is you have a one size fits all solution, right? One size fits all shapewear. Crazy, right? No one's ever going to worry about sizes because, for example, sizes are always the main objection in fashion. So if you manage to actually solve that objection for them with a very strong solution, like a one size fits all solution, then that's going to be a super strong factor of objection handling, and people are actually going to then click on your website and buy because they want to. Oh my God, okay, well, perfect. I'm not scared anymore because all the bad experiences in the past are not going to repeat themselves because this is a logical solution of why they're not going to repeat themselves. Like you back it up with proof, right? This is very important. And you can do this even with fashion, but you can do this with every product in every niche because it's always the objections that hold people back from direct responsively buying. It's always something which holds them back. And it might be the price. Well, how can you handle price objections, right? First of all, right, you need to, if someone thinks that this is too expensive, then you've not done a good job making people understand that they're getting more than what they pay for. So your value, what you showed them, the value of your offer of your website is not higher than the price. And then obviously they're not going to buy. And then the second thing you could do is obviously offer payment plans, right? So give them a discount if they buy 3 pieces, or give them a discount if they subscribe and get it every month, if that's a consumable, or like actually have a payment plans set up where people can pay in installments. All these things help. So you have to figure out what the main concerns of people are and also solve those, handle those in your ads, not only on your website. And again, try it. This is going to get your results through the roof. Try it. All right. Number 7, social proof. Okay. Social proof is probably the most important part of a creative, right? Because people want to know whatever dream, like every product you sell solves a purpose. Even clothing, because people with clothing, it's like people want to look better. People want to feel more confident. People want to, have something new, try something new, get reactions. Like it's always some type of insecurity that you solve, always some problem that you actually play into when selling whatever product. So people want to see that other people who had the same problem have solved that with your offer. And this is something which you can't do enough of. Like there's no such thing as too much social proof. No such thing. And I promise you that. I'll give you that in writing. Like the best ads push as much social proof as humanly possible in any type of way. And so whether it's an influencer or 100 influencers wearing the product, using the product, talking about the product, or just a gazillion reviews, all 5-star, which mention how much the product has changed their lives, it's going to work better because people just want to see the results of other people to actually then have the proof to buy themselves. This is probably the strongest lever in your creative. And the more you have of it, the better it is for you. Right? That's what I would tell you. Super, super, super important. Number 8, authority. And again, you might think, how does this apply to me if I sell fashion? Well, it does. Because what influencer marketing essentially is a person who you trust, a person who you look up to, a person who is an authority to others, talks positively and talks about positive experiences with ordering your product. What that's going to do is people are going to then trust them, and then because they trust you, they're going to also trust you, and they're going to give you their money. Or if you sell a crazy problem solver, it might be a doctor that's speaking your ads. Might be, whatever, like you can do this in so many ways. Point is, it could also be the brand owner, like also in fashion. The craziest, probably best possible authority that you can have in your creatives, if you stand there, make an ad, you as the founder, make an ad with your camera, walking around at the warehouse and showing how many pieces you've sold. That's the craziest piece of authority, but no one does this. Like I've only seen that really being used in the fashion niche, but not really in any other niche. But you can do this in any. And whether it's a doctor, whether it's you as the founder, whether it's influencers, some type of authority will always make you sell more of your product, right? Now, last 2 stages that I'm going to talk about now are going to be, now that people, if you've done all these previous steps, people should now be product aware. And then they're going to get most aware. So last 2 stages are going to be how to make product aware people from most aware, and then how to make them from most aware to actual customers. All right. So again, if you've done all this, which is curiosity, simplicity, proof, promise, plan, call out customers, visual hook, objection handling, social proof, authority, if you've done all these, they should now be product aware. What is product aware? It's an awareness stage where people already know that they have a problem, that they need to solve it, that they're going to pick your product as a solution for it. They're just comparing different competitors to each other. And so now You need to show them why you're the best competitor. You need to give them an us versus them. And how you can simply do that by showing more social proof, right? By talking shit about other other competitors, and that really works. You just have to kind of be careful of not getting sued. But look at image ads, for example. Look at what us versus them image ads literally are. That's specifically made for product aware people that are comparing your solution to the solution of other companies. Basically, it's the same product. They're just comparing different competitors. Basically, want to get the best value, best price, whatever they're looking for, and you need to justify your price, because I'm assuming you don't want to be the cheapest one in the market. Probably want to be the most expensive one. So you need to justify your price and actually explain them emotionally and logically why you are the best competitor out there for this specific product. And what also helps with that, I'm going to give you a life hack for this, is if you have less products on your store and you're super niche down on this specific product and you've kind of built a whole store around it, then you're going to win every time against a store which has 5 different products they're all focusing on. Why is that? Because imagine this. You go to a restaurant and they only sell pizza. And now you go to restaurant B, which sells everything. Which one do you think has the better pizza? Obviously the one which only sells pizza. So the more you focus on only that one product and only that's on your store, and even like everyone knows, you have brand awareness that you're special, you're there for this specific solution, for this specific product, you're going to win, and you can get away with charging much higher prices for your product than your competition that has 5 different products in their store. And it's as simple as that. And so last step is how to make people from most aware, now that they're most aware, how to turn them from most aware to actual paying customers. And that is completely easy and simple. You can simply do that by now doing something, and which you've already heard a million times. It's something called a call to action. You give them a reason why they should click now, not tomorrow. And please, by all means, please, if you see this video, never mention the link. They already know that there's a link. They already know that they're watching an ad. They're not idiots. They're real people. They see the link. They know it's an ad. Don't mention the link. Don't say click on the link to get yours now. Like, what is that? Like, fuck off. They can just keep scrolling. You need to give them a reason of why they should click right now, which is going to be your offer, for example, which could be authority, social proof. It could be something which is just emotional. Like, give them a little trigger, a little extra push, and redirect them to your store. And this is the last little switch that you need for people that are still on your ad and haven't clicked yet, because most people will already have clicked. This is just for the last couple people that are still missing something. And just give them an extra reason. So you could say buy one, get one ends midnight with a little heart emoji, and boom. All of them are going to go. So the call to action is really the only thing that's basically redirecting people from being most aware at the end of their ad to now being, actual buying customers. And so, yeah, that's pretty much it. These are the steps of turning someone who's, close to being completely unaware to actually being paying customers. So this is kind of a framework for direct response marketing, which I've kind of broken down, which is essentially what you want as a dropshipper. You're going to rely on first-time purchases. You're going to rely on like direct response ads, and the better you are at it, the more money you're going to make now. Obviously, when you have a brand, you're going to also run different campaign types. You're going to also advertise for your brand awareness specifically. You're going to also advertise on organic sources, and kind of build an ecosystem, and direct response get less and less important. However, for now, as a dropshipper, you depend on direct response. So try all these. And the last thing before ending this video, which I want to mention, is that all of this is worth nothing if you don't apply it. Like, you've wasted 40 minutes of your time, if you're still watching, if you don't apply this in your business from now on. And so I want you to go out of this video and just do more. Because by doing more, you automatically get better. By showing up and doing actually more than everyone else, you just get better. And I would argue that someone who understands this video perfectly and you took notes, I know you did, right? Versus someone who just, after watching this video, forgets all this, which I just yapped, but just makes 10,000 creatives, he's going to get better. So if you do forget all this, if you go out of this video forgetting everything I just said, remember one thing: do more, and your results will completely change. And I want to say thank you for giving me your time and your attention. And I wish you a fantastic day.